What up, friends? I'm James, your host, and today I thought I'd revive something that I used to do back on my TikTok page, a starter pack, where I basically give you some recommendations of albums that I like from genres that I like in hopes to get their name out, the artist's name out, and also to help you find something new to enjoy. So to start all this off, I figured, I'm a big K-pop fan. What better place to start than with 5th generation K-pop albums? So K-pop is a bit different than other music genres, where K-pop is usually separated into different generations that are based on the sound of the artists within said generation and also when those groups were formed. K-pop is not just about the music, it's about the choreography, it's about the styling, it's about the overall presence and marketing and the entire aesthetic of a given album rollout or a given group and their identity as well. So because of this, people usually separate different K-pop groups into different generations that all have a sort of common sound from a common era. So what is the 5th generation of K-pop? Well, the 5th generation of K-pop, these generations are not universally agreed upon, but it's usually considered to be groups that were formed from 2023 to the present day. 5th generation K-pop groups are usually ones that orient themselves around having a very unique and individual style, sound, aesthetic, and also promote each member having their own identity too. The genres used by these K-pop groups also tend to vary a bit more than in the previous K-pop generations. Like I said before, the older K-pop generations usually centered around a specific sound, a specific genre even, that most groups were experimenting with. However, this generation of K-pop also really wants to break out of that, typically wants to do different styles, different aesthetics, and even if they are doing the same genre, a different take on different genres as well. Granted, this does apply a little bit less to 4th generation K-pop groups because they are kind of the precursor of the 5th generation. They also are kind of gearing more towards their own style and identities, but 5th generation I feel like is when this really gets put into the forefront. 5th generation K-pop groups also typically tend to connect with their fans and social media more directly compared to older K-pop groups. It's a bit less corporate, I guess, if you want to call it that, even though K-pop is still manufactured, but the individual K-pop members, their own identities, and how they are more open to showing their flaws and individual quirks rather than a cleanly crafted image, that's something that 5th generation K-pop groups really strive for usually. I guess you could say they're overall a bit less rigid, even if the usual idol rules tend to still apply to them, even if maybe not overtly. Anyway, to kick things off, we are going to be starting with AtHeart's mini-album, Plot Twist. AtHeart is a 7-member K-pop girl group that was created in 2023 and debuted in 2025. One thing that I really like about this mini-album is its sort of cool, minimalistic electro-pop that creates a very dreamy and dreamlike atmosphere. It's very light, very airy, very even sparse, if you want to call it that, but it all comes together in a very intentional way. One thing that you'll notice when you listen to this mini-album is how great of a sense of space that this album has, and the electronic and dancey vibes and instrumentals weirdly kind of remind me of the Mega Man 8 soundtrack. It's very interesting how low-key this mini-album is, while also being very catchy too. If you want something chill yet very melodic, this is the mini-album for you. In a sense, it is a bit different compared to the other K-pop girl groups that are doing this sound in the 5th generation just because of how sparse it is, but I also think this helps them really stand out. Next up, we have Hearts to Heart's Focus mini-album. This is a K-pop girl group that is composed of 8 members and was created once again in 2023 and debuted in 2025. This one, in contrast to the mini-album I just talked about, is a bit less minimalistic than their contemporaries, focusing more on a fuller and more shimmering sound with big bass lines and instrumental accents. It's a great blend of dance pop, contemporary R&B, and even some house and new disco elements. The vocal styles on this mini-album are also super smooth and also have some good variety to them. They don't usually stick to the same flows in their verses and things like that. They actually switch it up every so often, which keeps things interesting. They're also pretty unique too because they use samples a bit more than your average 5th gen girl group and really 5th gen group in general. Even if they're not the most pronounced thing, even if they are just used for like an intro or a little highlight here and there, it is pretty cool to see, especially because sampling, especially overt sampling like this, isn't used as much in K-pop as a whole. They have a very bouncy and slick sound, and also a very playful and confident attitude to them as well. And this especially shows in their newest single, Rude, if you want to go even further than this mini album, which I think really captures them really well. This group also is very like Y2K if you're a fan of that. My next recommendation to you is ifeye's Sweet Tang. This is a 6-member girl group that, once again, started in 2023 and debuted in 2025. Now, compared to the other ones that I talked about, if you want something peppy and upbeat, this is going to be the one that you want to check out. They have very sweet and vibrant vocals and instrumentals that set the mood well. This mini album also has a nice balance of the fuller sounds and the minimalism that you get from the other K-pop girl groups within the 5th generation. However, I would say compared to some of the other ones, the energy on this mini album is very consistently fun. Like, we got dance pop, we got Jersey Club, we got some like Latin pop influences on the opener, we even have some like pop rock and future influences on some of these tracks. Like, this thing has it all. It's a very youthful album, a very summery album, and one that's just very confident as well, especially in their big single from it, Are You Okay? Honestly, it's worth checking out simply for the sheer variety of stuff on this thing. Even if you don't like the full project, there's definitely something that you'll like on here. Next up on my list is Young Posse's Macaroni Cheese. Young Posse is a 5-member girl group that both formed and debuted in 2023. To be honest, this is probably the most fun group out of 5th gen if I had to ascribe that label to anyone. Unlike a lot of other girl groups where I find that the like rap portions feel a bit forced, a bit unnecessary, especially for the sound that a lot of these groups are doing, this is a full-on rap group, one with actually has some skills too. This particular mini album, while short, does a good job I think in covering a lot of different hip-hop subgenres. We have pop rap, we have the more like minimalistic and experimental sounds on the title track on this thing, and we even have some like drill influences here that are pretty fun too. The lyrics and personalities on display here are also very cheeky, they're also very fun and playful, especially because the members of Young Posse typically are associated and involved in the songwriting process to some degree, especially on the title track where they basically wrote the entire like lyrics themselves. One thing that I also think really helps Young Posse is the fact that they really don't take themselves all that seriously. If you read the lyrics, and even if you listen to some of the songs and watch their music videos and things like that, they're just all about having fun. They don't take themselves seriously at all, but that also makes the moments when they do take themselves seriously, which are few and far between, it makes them more impactful. I think it's also interesting that the producers that they get for their tracks actually seem to know quite a bit about hip-hop, and a lot of the homages that they do in their songs feel a bit more genuine compared to a lot of the other hip-hop songs in K-pop, I find. Finally, we get to my last recommendation, and this is ILLIT's Super Real Me. ILLIT is a 5-member girl group that formed in 2023 and debuted in 2024. Now, full disclosure, ILLIT is my favorite 5th generation K-pop group, and honestly one of my favorite K-pop groups in general. They have a surprisingly consistent sound for a genre and industry even that is known for switching styles on a dime, and that's especially prevalent on this mini album right here. There's some great dance pop and contemporary R&B sounds on here, even dabbling in a bit of future house as well. It's a very interesting and fun combination. ILLIT typically have very smooth and low-key vocals that really complement the sounds that they play with. However, they aren't afraid of actually kind of building up a little bit too. They know how to flex their skills when they need to. If there's a short phrase that I can describe ILLIT as, and this mini album especially, it's simple yet effective and very, very catchy. There's such a low-key bounce and a low-key groove to the songs on here that really keep propelling them forward, but also don't feel overbearing or tacky. Later mini albums from ILLIT also see them experimenting even more with the house and electronic elements that they start playing with here, and even incorporate some other sounds and genres like chiptune as well. It's a very short listen, but a very well-rounded one, and I think if you like this mini album, it's a great introduction to the rest of their catalog. But those are my recommendations if you wanted to get into K-pop or the 5th generation specifically, whichever, whether you know know a lot about K-pop or you don't, hopefully this was helpful for you. Hopefully this gave you something new to listen to and check out. And if you like these recommendations, be sure to let me know which ones you loved, which ones that you think you should recommend if they weren't on this video. And until the next one, farewell.